Hey cats, it's Ed, hi Viz Bud here. Today I've got for you a top 10 of my favourite running shoes of 2022. I've got out there in all sorts of weather conditions and ground those outsoles into the floor, so I draw upon my experiences and the miles I've collected in the shoes so far. I hope you enjoy this one guys, the Eddbud top 10 running shoes of 2022. Thanks for joining me on the channel, it's always appreciated. Help us to continue growing the channel into 2023 by hitting that subscribe button and clicking the bell below for notifications. It really helps us out too if you give this video a thumbs up like, that's like a major booster, and share it with your running buddies. If you've been enjoying the content recently, you can help the channel out on an ad hoc basis by hitting that super thanks button below. Dankeschön. My top 10 shoes of 2022. These are all things that I've tested out over the last 12 months. There's a whole menagerie of different midsoles today, some outstanding outsoles and some utterly stupendous uppers. Just a couple of shoes that are just outside my top 10. So I did review the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3. It's a great shoe but perhaps a little bit too squashy now. I wasn't massively keen on this heel counter here. Just seems to come up a little bit too high around my Achilles. I've got quite a bit of exposed midsole wear as well. That said, it's still quite a light and nimble shoe, just not so sure about this winged plate that they've placed into the midsole. So just outside the top 10 for me. Another one just outside the top 10 is the Reebok FLOATRIDE Energy X. I really like this shoe for sort of steady cruising pace, but it's just got a little bit too much bulk for me. Hopefully they can try and reduce the weight a little bit of this one, perhaps if they do another iteration in 2023. And I think if they put a little bit more of the FLOATRIDE Plus foam into the midsole here, that would really improve things. In fact, I kind of hope they bring back the Run Fast series. They were a great line of shoe, aside from the third one. The second one was absolute dynamite. You know, PEGASUS based Reebok shoe, that's what we want. So the Energy X just outside the top 10. Okay, let's get into the top 10. At number 10 is the Puma Velocity NITRO 2, the standard and first mile version. A great daily shoe and one that's come in handy as both a running option and for casual use. I really love the midsole combo here that we've got in the Velocity NITRO 2. Slightly more responsive EVA and then that nice cushioned sofa-like Nitro. I guess you could call the EVA old reliable. Cheap as chips and comes with considerable grip from that Puma outsole. They'll be calling this old reliable soon. Hard to beat in terms of value and what you'll actually get for your money. And I think the Velocity NITRO 2 looks fantastic as well. So just inside the top 10 for this year is the Velocity NITRO 2. Another daily shoe at position number 9, the Nike Air Zoom Pegasus 39. I found the React midsole a touch softer on the 39 than the 37 and 38. The Pegasus was once again a more usable, versatile option here. Last two have been a little bit off in terms of the upper fit, but it was certainly on point in the 39 and a bit of a return to perhaps the 35 and 36 type feel. The React soon softened up even more and I really enjoyed the dual AirPods that we had in this one. I guess the tech may be getting on a little bit, but it seems to be a little bit more resilient than some of the sort of super shoe foams that we've had of recent time. I like the fact that I can wander down to Sports Direct and pick up a pair of these as well. Running shoes are getting a little bit difficult to come by these days. Too many online stores, I suppose. Do try and help out your local stores if you can, people. Maybe not the big chain stores, I'm talking about the smaller bricks and mortar outlets. So at position number 9 is the Pegasus 39. At position 8 it's the shoe of choice for family member Christmas presents. Let's just hope they're not watching. The Reebok FLOATRIDE Energy 4. A fantastic daily option with an incredibly lightweight upper, top-notch looks and a midsole that's just got the right balance between cushion, flexibility and responsiveness. I think the price is darn good as well, which is pretty much the case for all Reebok models. And you could also go for the slightly more beefy outsole that you get on the Adventure model. I put that one into action today in some dreadful weather here in the UK. Puddles, ice patches, very cold temperatures handled perfectly by the Energy 4 Adventure. These are priced at £75 and £85 respectively, and they make for the best value running shoe option in 2022. You can't really go far wrong. I think they're discounted right now, in fact around about £50, so you know what to do. At position 8 it's the Energy 4 from Reebok. At position 7, it's the first of the so-called super shoes in the list, the Puma Fast R Nitro Elite. An amazing looking and performing shoe. I was really stoked to test it out earlier in the year. I found it to be a brilliantly aggressive tempo and faster pace shoe. Perhaps not the marathon shoe that Puma intended. The two foams that they've used here in the Fastar NITRO Elite create a really nice smooth transition from the heel to the forefoot. That mid forefoot section is very responsive, very lively. Puma grip on the outsole and a super light flexible upper. Reminds me a little bit, I guess, of the original version of the Vaporfly Next Percent. Certainly one of the most innovative shoes over the last 12 months. There's really nothing quite like it. I'm keen to use it more in 2023 and get out in some races. Absolutely one of the best that I've tried over the past 12 months, and certainly worthy of its position 7 on the list. At position number 6 is a shoe that fits many different categories for me. The sleek, the nimble, and once again great value ADIOS 7 from Adidas. This was certainly my best daily running shoe pickup of 2022. Please go and check my video out on that I put out recently. Takes a tiny bit of time to break this one in, but once you have done so, the cushion combination that you've got here with the Light Strike and Light Strike Pro is unmatched. It's just the right amounts and positions of those foams to really give you a great running experience. It's certainly quite responsive there, makes you want to push the pace perhaps a little bit. I just love the fact I got a nice comfortable running shoe that doesn't have this really bulky profile around the heel and is wonderfully flexible yet still structured up here in the toe box. Brilliant grip as well on the outsole here, putting to shame many more expensive shoes. A lighter version of the ADIOS 6 really. So if that one hit the spot for you, then you're in for a real treat. Often discounted and perhaps one for the narrower footed runners. Though of course there is a wide version now so everyone can get in on the party. At position 6 is the ADIOS 7 from Adidas. We're halfway through the list. If you're enjoying today's video, do hit that like button. Share the video with your running buddies too, it's much appreciated. On to position number 5. At position 5 is the super squashy compressive ride of the Endorphin Pro 3 from Saucony. This was a big update over versions 1 and 2. A more compressive midsole and more of it as well. The shoe is somewhat weight relieved and I think it's pretty much a template really that Nike have used to come up with a new upper for their Vaporfly Next Percent 3 that we should see releasing early next year. There are some distinct similarities between that upper that we have here on the Endorphin Pro 3 and that new Vaporfly version. I found the outsole was really improved in the Endorphin Pro 3 and I love the upper flexibility and styling. I mean, it's a great looking shoe, right? This one certainly hit the spot and it really stands out as well if you're going to use it for racing or training for that matter. A bit of a maverick shoe this one. It felt superb out the box and even after some more miles. There's a very low weight here in the Pro 3 which is especially amazing when you consider the amount of cushion on offer. Certainly one of the best this year and there's been lots of competition as well. At position 5 is the Endorphin Pro 3 from Saucony. At position 4 is the second version of a shoe that I really wanted to like from last year, the Invincible Run Flyknit 2 from Nike. This one did pretty much all of the things that the original did very well, but with a much better upper. I think the design was a bit more on point than the V1. Didn't get any rubbing around the toe box area, and I hammered loads of miles into my pair in a short space of time. I mean, the midsole is a super squashy pillow of cushion, works really well for easy miles, recovery efforts, or perhaps some longer runs. And walking too, I use this one quite extensively just for casual use. I found the midsole held up surprisingly well over time. I haven't had any separation issues, especially here in the heel. See, it's looking good. I got loads of wear out of this one, and for the retail price I certainly got my money's worth. At number 4 in today's list, the Invincible Run Flyknit 2. At position 3 is a shoe that brought me lots of enjoyment in using it at a few races that I did this year. Due to illness I missed out on loads of races that I booked, but when I did get out there, the Metaspeed Sky Plus was the shoe that really worked for me. Dynamite shoe, low profile around the foot in terms of the upper, and a very bouncy, brittle-like feel in the midsole, which wasn't all that dissimilar to the original ZOOMX feel in the Vaporfly 4%. I really loved that enlarged midfoot to forefoot area here in the Metaspeed Sky Plus. I also love that ping pong bat-like rubber application on the outsole. That gripped like no other running shoe can grip. The shoe feels aggressive and it certainly puts you into that right mindset for a race. When you're at the start line you want to turn up that pace and get the right effort level. I felt like this shoe was brilliant for that. A superb update from Asics on this one and I highly recommend you test it out if you can. At position 3 it is the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus. At position 2, it's the Adidas ADIZERO PRIMEX STRUNG. Now, you might ask me, well, how can this be at position number 2, Ed? You reviewed this the other day after 100 miles, and you said it was one of the best running shoes ever. Now, don't forget I rate shoes on the perceived enjoyment that I've got out of them too, and also how my viewers and other runners might get on in the shoe as well. This does seem to be one that either works for you or it doesn't. There's no real middle ground there. The PRIMEX STRUNG is a tremendous shoe, but there's no escaping the huge price. That could make it a little bit too much of a gamble for some people to actually go for. It's insanely good in terms of upper design, which I hope is used on some existing and new models in 2023. I mean, the midsole and outsole were just a continuation of what we had in the original version of the PRIMEX. I found it tremendous across the pace ranges and a brilliantly fun trainer that just leaves my legs feeling fantastic. Do go and check out my 100-mile review. I'll put a card on screen right now and there's a link in the description. Some people might question, well, if the shoe leaves your legs feeling that good, well, is it really testing you? Is it training the legs? I've got other responsibilities in my life. I'm not a shoe tuber that can just run all day, every day. I've got a wife, kids, a job, I've got a band, I've got all sorts of things going on. So if there's a shoe that helps me to keep consistent in my training, then that's good. The only thing stopping this from being the absolute best shoe of the year for me is that price. As such, it's the number 2 shoe of the last year, a stupendous offering from Adidas and very innovative. So what on earth could be the top shoe? Just take a moment to think about it right now and shout your answer out. Okay, number 1 shoe for 2022 is the Adidas ADIZERO TAKUMI Sen 8. This was a real update over the 6 and 7, insanely light, had some real propulsion there from those energy rods. It had that trademark Takumi Sen glove-like upper. Minimal materials here and a shoe built for speed. Kind of like a hot rod dragster type vehicle. Light Strike Pro only midsole. Everything's just minimized and it just represents a fantastic running shoe feel. Found it a really engaging ride. I think it might be something to do with the actual drop here. It's a little bit lower. Feels like you get the best out of the shoe if you use a very fast cadence. Relying a little bit less on the heel and more on that very grippy mid to forefoot section of the shoe. The main reason I've got this at the top spot is that you can find these often for just under 100 Earth credits. I think it's incredible value for such a brilliant shoe. Yes, it's a very narrow feeling fit. I will be very interested to see if Adidas have actually managed to improve upon this version of the shoe. How they're going to do that, I don't know. It's pretty close to perfection for me, and certainly over the last year it's one I've really enjoyed using. There's not a lot that comes close to this one in terms of the cost and the actual performance. So my top running shoe for 2022 is the Takumi Sen 8 from Adidas. What's been your absolute top shoe of the year? Which one's brought you the most enjoyment? It might not necessarily be the one that gave you like a PR or something, but which has been the one you constantly want to grab for? Let the runners and I know down in the comments. Musical interlude for you. It's Christmas, so I'm continuing in the festive Yuletide sort of vibes. Today I heard in a shop When a Child is Born by Johnny Mathis. What a beautiful intro, so gentle, magical. It's got all those things that you want in the start of a Christmas track. I love Johnny Mathis's vocal as well. It's just so subtle. He's singing it like he truly believes every word. I love the chorus as well. It's full of hope. Everything that you sort of want around this time of year really does lift the spirits. And of course, if you've got a Christmas track, you need a spoken word section somewhere in there. Very important. You can't have a Christmas tune otherwise. One of those old time tracks, and this beautiful production on it as well. Quite lush. The strings are out of this world. Go and check this one out, guys, if you've never heard it before. Johnny Mathis with When a Child is Born. Thanks for tuning in, people. I hope you enjoyed today's list. It was fun putting it together. Hit that subscribe button, click the bell below for notifications. Also give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with your running buddies. My name's Eddbud, and I'll be seeing you